Oh, hi YouTube, I hope you're well. My name's Ozzy, and what I'd like to do is show you 20 interesting Nike vintage tracksuits between 1980 and 2000. Previously I've looked at Adidas and I've looked at Elise, so I think it's about time to pay some attention to the sometimes neglected Nike brand. And all of these are tracksuits, they have both tops and bottoms. So let's have a look at how some of the style changed over those years and some of the badges and labels that there are, and I'll be showing those down in the bottom here for you. So let's start with what is, after all, the absolute classic Nike design, the Windjammer or Windrunner with the chevron on the chest. Now, I don't know what this is called. These started in the late 1970s. Actually, they run through the whole of this brand's history. Even today, you can buy a Windjammer with some sort of weird and wonderful pattern on it. It just is the absolute classic. It's not lined, it comes in all sorts of colour variations, perhaps less in the early days, but there we have that. Oh, and just one more thing, it has the orange label badge, what we call the orange label badge. It has an orange tick on a white background. Here we have a tracksuit that you would have seen quite often in the UK in the early 80s. It's about 1982, 1983. It looks like tops and bottoms with the orange label as well. And here is a variation on that design. There were quite a few variations on that design. Again, orange label embroidered badge there. Very available all over the country. Now, I date this to about 1983, perhaps 1984. You see the metal fob here has appeared, and also the what we call the large blue tag for Nike. There were some variation in the 80s, and there were all sorts of smaller offshoots that happened, you know, different brands, ranges, but in the main, what followed the orange tag was the large blue tag. Now, this particular one is faded, but that coincides with the fob, about 1983. I guess this is 1983, it could have been 1984. Now, this is a design you saw an awful lot of back in the 80s. It's a raglan embroidered Nike logo, the large blue neck tag, and it's very distinctive because you've got that raglan and the two stripes here and the crew neck, and this ran for a few years from 1984 to 1980. I think the last I saw was 1986, I think. And just to show one of the other variations on the design we've just seen, I think it works particularly well with white and black as here, and I think this is much later than 84. I think this is 1986 one. Same badge, large blue badge with the big silver block fob. And just to show that you get the Windjammer or Windrunner in quite a few variations, don't get much clearer than that in terms of a neck tag, and this blue, but you'd have seen it in the reverse with blue on the top and grey on the bottom. I mean, just there were quite a few, relatively plain at this point. Now, this is an interesting one. This is the first Air Jordan design, or a Jordan design at any rate. I think originally designed in 1984, I think available in the UK in 1985, and this is a UK tracksuit. So it's correct in the sense that it has its badge on the arm, which is really just an embroidered thing that's stitched on. It has the kind of this sort of very classic early Air Jordan design in the large blue badge, but that's about it. And just to give you an idea of how there are very slight variations on this. This is one from Japan in the Air Jordan range, and here you can see the flight badge for Air Jordan and a basketball kind of shirt, big blue neck tag. This is 1986, a little bit, I always think it's a little bit cheap, this particular design. They're not putting a great deal of work into this. I guess it's your basic sports shop kind of thing, all sorts of colour variations. We've still got the, actually we haven't, actually the badges, the neck tags become a little bit smaller for this one, and we've got the stitch on Nike logo there, and relatively narrow trousers on that. 1986, same year. This is actually, firstly, this is showing Windjammers can come in absolutely any design. And this is the kind of British athletics team design for that year. Also a tracksuit here. This is a size medium, which is really quite surprising because this looks relatively small. But I guess people were smaller in the 1980s. Who knows? And of course 1986 again. 1980s, the era of sport aid, band aid, quite a few different aid. This particular one is sport aid one for the purposes of using sport to raise money for family relief and other good causes around the world. And another interesting one, I think this is 1987, I've had to check the catalogue for this one. I don't have catalogues for all of them, but as it happens, I could find this in the catalogue. It's from the Steve Cram range of 1987, and his stuff was quite distinctive because it had yellow, black, grey. That was kind of stuff he used to wear when he was involved in some of his best athletic achievements. So this is a range for him. Interesting because it has the sweatshirt as well as the joggers and stitched in embroidered logo. Now we're coming to 1988, and this is the kind of design that replaced the raglan one that we saw previously, the sort of bog standard crew neck tracksuit with a big fob, a bit of an abstract design here, all sorts of colour variations just came in. In fact, for example, it came in this black, and that probably suits it a little bit better than the grey, a bit startling. Embroidered logo, so a bit more money spent on this, very abstract, very 1980s. A little bit later this one, I guess. I'm thinking this is 1989, embroidered logo, a little bit of design on the trousers there. Still we've got the blue badge, and it's still the smaller, later blue badge. Remember with the badges you've got the orange label badge with white background, late 70s up to about 1983, then you tend to see a larger blue badge, and then about after 1986 you tend to see a slightly smaller blue badge. And this is about the last of the smaller blue badge period. I guess it's 1989, 1990, you get a kind of bit more symmetry as well as an abstract design at this time. And now we're coming into, I'm thinking this is 1992, something like that. A bit popular putting large spellouts on the back of designs at this time. Embroidered logo. I think the fob's changed just a little bit, but we've got that change in the badge. It's now the white and silver one. And this is 1993, I think, it might be 1994, but using a lot of decoration. You kind of get in the middle 90s with Nike these big spellouts. They're completely confident about it, and here is a good example. But that carried on after 93, 94, 95. You're still getting that confidence about, and this looks like it was a winter season kind of thing. And following on, this might be 95 or 96, that sort of thing, a big spell out with a sort of a baseball style. Near the end of the 90s, things have become a lot simpler. Designs all fall away. They're even not telling you it's Nike anymore. On the back, they're paring things down, and it's the same with Adidas. Then there had been a lot of fussy colours in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of fluorescent, a lot of cut and sew, that sort of thing. But by about the middle 90s, you get the revival of the Firebird tracksuit, really simple, really plain, just stripes and a single colour. And again, Nike are following in that thing, or Adidas follow Nike, whatever. It was the thing of the time. You get a lot of plain stuff coming up to the naughty. And then finally, just to finish, just to show that, like a faithful dog, the Nike Windrunner never leaves us. Here again, a hilarious thing from middle noughties in the Windjammer design. One of all sorts of funny things you see in camouflage, all sorts of abstract designs. They're playing about with this thing. They feel really confident about it, and even to this day you can buy things in the Windrunner, Windjammer kind of style, and long may that continue. Well, there we have it. 20 interesting Nike tracksuits made in the UK between 1980 and 2000. I hope you found that interesting. It was great to talk to you again. My name is still Ozzy. My God, you really had better believe.